All right, I'm going to show you how to do quadratic curve fitting. And I'm really just going to do these three problems right here. So you're kind of going to just follow along with me on these three problems. Now, the first thing that I want to point out is I want to show you something slightly different with a regular problem, with a linear equation. If I'm looking at a linear table, I have something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12. A linear table, you can tell that it's linear if the difference between this number and this number, which is plus 4, is the same as the difference between this number and this number, which is plus 4. We call this a first difference. And remember, difference means that we're doing subtraction. So the difference is the same there, so this is linear. If I continued the pattern, it would continue the same. So this would be 16, which is also, again, plus 4. And that would just continue on and on. That doesn't happen with a quadratic. With a quadratic, you're looking at something like this. I'm still going to check my difference. This is minus 3. This is minus 1. This is plus 1. And this is plus 3. So I have a different difference there. This is the first difference. So it's not linear because these numbers are not the same. But if I look at the change between these two, this is plus 2. This is plus 2. This is plus 2. So the second difference is the same, which means that it's a quadratic. This can continue on indefinitely, which means that we can check if it's not a quadratic, if these weren't the same, I would check the next difference and see if that worked. And if it did, then it would be a cubic. If that didn't work, I would go on. And if the next one worked, then it would be a quartic, quintic, etc. So we want to know what kind of equation we're dealing with. This guy right here, we're going to use the calculator to actually do this. So it's fairly simple. I'm just going to show you how to do it on the calculator, okay? So all you need to do is you need to go back to the things that we did before. Can you see that screen? That's the question. It's really hard to see. I'm going to move this and I'm going to hold it. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing, okay? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the stat button. Second. Uh-oh, I'm not finding it. Oh, not second. Just kidding. The stat button, which is right here. So I go to stat, and I'm going to edit. So I'm just going to hit enter. And I'm going to put all my values in. So the values are -2, enter, -1, enter, 0, 1, 2. And then I'm going to go over to my y's. My y's are 4, 1, 0, 1, 4. Got to make sure that they match up, and they do. I have the same number in each, the same number of values in each list, L1 and L2, so I'm good. I'm going to quit out of this screen, and I'm going to go back to stat, but this time I'm going to go to calculate. So I'm going to go over to calculate. If you remember before, we did the linear regression, but we're not doing linear regression this time. We're doing quadratic regression. So I'm going to go down to the quad reg, which is right below it. And I'm going to hit enter. And when I do that, it gives me this guy right here. So it tells me, and this is kind of hard to see because of the shadow. Hopefully I can make it a little bit brighter on the when I put it online. It's giving you the formula right here of y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And it tells you right here, it's telling you a equals 1, b equals 0, c equals 0. So we're going to plug those guys in to this equation right here. So that gives me y equals 1x squared plus 0x plus 0. Well, I can just write that as y equals x squared. And that's the function. That's the equation, okay? I'm going to go on to the second one. So I'm going to go back into my stat screen. I'm going to go to edit again, and I'm going to actually just replace these values with the new values. So my x's are still -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. I don't need to change those. But my y's are now 1, 2, 4, 8, and 16. make sure that they match up, and they do. So I'm going to quit out of this screen. I'm going to go back to stat. I'm going to go to calculate, and I'm going to go down to Quadratic. Hit enter, and it gives me all these values. These values are kind of crazy. I'm going to see if I can turn it into fractions, and I can't. So I'm going to round it off to the hundredths place. So it's going to be y equals 1.14 x squared plus 3.6x plus 3.91. And I wrote that really badly, so I'm going to rewrite it. Y equals 1.14 x squared plus 3.6x plus 3.91. And that's the formula for this quadratic right here. Okay? In standard form. Last one. I'm going to go through the process. I'm going to go back into stat. I'm going to edit. My first column did change this time, so it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did it go 8? No, it didn't. I'm going to go over to the y's. It's 11, 21, 35, 53, 75. Now I'm going to quit. Go back to stat. Go to calculate. Calculate the quadratic. And it gives me this, much better numbers than the last one. I might have typed a number in wrong on the last one. That might have been why the numbers were so poor. But this is going to be y equals 2x squared minus 4x plus 5. And that's the final answer. So that's all you're doing on these. You got to make sure if it's a quadratic or a linear before you go into the stat and the edit. So what I really should have done is I should have checked my differences here. So this is plus 1, this is plus 2, this is plus 4, this is plus 8. So that's not a linear. The next difference is plus 1, plus 2, plus 4. So this one wasn't even a quadratic. That's why it gave us such poor numbers on there. I probably should not have done this one. This is not a quadratic. Let's look at this guy right here. It's minus 3, minus 1, plus 3, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. And this last one, plus 10, plus 14, plus 18, plus 22. So then my second difference is plus 4, plus 4, plus 4. So make sure of those differences first. Otherwise you'll get bad ones like this. I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring down here. There's a monster snoring. Hey monster, did I wake you up?